Shaun, Katie, Shaun. Katie, what happened in the last episode of Rings of Power?
That was episode 2, wasn't it? Is this episode 3?
Yeah.
So we saw Galadriel, didn't we? Her kind of stranded in the ocean. She came across these people that had like their ship destroyed, and in kind of weird fashion, not really sure why, but they were kind of like against her being an elf. It seems like there's a big divide between humans and elves, is what they're getting at. There's no kind of like love between them. Yeah. There was this big weird sea creature thing which you loved. That was after them.
Didn't sleep for a week.
Yeah. Pretty much everyone died except for this one other guy. I can't remember his name.
Harbrand.
Who helped Galadriel in a few ways. And their kind of little story, that episode ended with a random ship coming to pick them up. We don't know who it is. Sirens. What else happened? We saw Elrond with Celebrimbor. He went to one of the dwarven kingdoms to see Durin. Khazad-dûm to see Durin. To kind of enlist all of the dwarves to help build the
a forge.
A forge, yeah, so that Celebrimbor can, as we know, forge the rings. They had like a battle of strengths, didn't they? Like a true dwarf. They were just hitting rocks.
Yeah.
And we found out the reason why Durin had kind of fallen out with Elrond was because he didn't go at his wedding.
Well, he hadn't seen him for 20 years.
Yeah, he didn't go to his wedding, he didn't see his kids, he hasn't visited him. And he was kind of like, for you, that's nothing, for me, that's everything.
Yeah. 20 years is the blink of an eye compared to for an elf.
Compared to a dwarf, yep.
Yeah.
We also saw the human village, didn't we? Who are currently having orcs dig tunnels underneath the village.
Yeah.
Not really sure why yet. We assume it's just to take resources.
Pesky orcs.
Yeah. They managed to kill an orc though, didn't they? And kind of go and say to all the people in the village, like, look, it's real, it's here. We need to do something about this. So they're going to the watchtower, aren't they? Where the elves were that left. And the son has that sword. Her son has like this. So I assume it's Sauron's sword.
I don't know if it's Sauron. Thing is, you say Sauron's sword. Sauron never used a sword.
Well, I know, but it's got his like mark that they keep on referring to. That's why I assume. We theorised that he was a Gondorian, didn't we?
Taking a last look.
Yeah.
It has changed much, Watchwood.
Because they're sailing south, and in the south is Gondor.
Yeah. In that, he could potentially be a relation to the king. He could become the king.
But Elendil and Isildur will absolutely be alive at this time. So
you don't know how many years, though?
Unless this is Elendil's dad or something. I assume they're gonna. My thing is, I don't think they would want to go too far up the family line, because they want to try and play it at least partly safe by having people like Gil-galad, who people might go, oh, you do actually see him in Lord of the Rings only a little bit, and you see Elendil with the sword, you see him get killed. You know, you see Isildur take up his father's sword. You know, and you can paint that sort of link. I think if they start going, oh, this is Elendil, son of Harbrand, and this is Harbrand, and you're like, oh, it's Harbrand, it's probably putting too mushe stress on people who don't know who Elendil is. Just the fact he says his
people doesn't have a king, I'm kind of like, well, that doesn't make sense because there is a king at this point.
I don't think they said it was a... She never said it was the... She just said it's the mark of the king, didn't she?
Yeah, and he said, my people don't have a king. So unless he's not a part of Gondor and he's just like
weird.
I don't know.
Weird. Do you remember everyone's names yet?
No.
This is Arondir.
What?
He's Arondir.
Arondir. It always takes me a bit to learn people's names.
For some reason I find it easier knowing people's names in Lord of the Rings than I do in any other thing. Apart from maybe Star Wars. Oh, these are the villagers, you think? Taking us
We also saw our first orc last episode, didn't we?
Yeah, got his head chopped off. But he did say, why are all the people in the village gone? There's no bodies or anything. So these are the people of the village.
Is this where they're going to make more orcs? And like kind of the similar thing that happened in Isengard?
They weren't orcs though, they were.
Huh?
They weren't orcs though, they were uruks.
I know, but I don't know how all the orcs are made.
Orcs are like, I don't think orcs are made the same as uruks. Uruks are made, I think orcs are like born.
We're nearly there. Nearly where? Home.
Thank you, that doesn't help at all. He's got her dagger. Who the devil does he think he is? Is this going to be somewhere we recognise? Oh, see, it's his son. Surely it's not. Surely it's not Gondor if it's his son and not the tree. Unless they didn't use the tree as their sigil this time. Numenor. Ooh, that's cool. Isn't that what Aragorn's descended from? The Numenorians.
Oh, that's all pretty, isn't it? Look at that.
Oh, if this is Numenor, that means we're going to see the fall of Numenor.
So what, is this where the Dunedain is?
I think this is what the Dunedain are descended from. But it's also
Because they say descendants of Numenor, don't they?
the line of kings comes from it.
These men are not like you.
God, it does look really pretty. Like, there's one thing to say about this series is it's really nailed the
The
visuals.
scenery. That looks like the top of Narsil. See?
Yeah.
That's not Narsil, that's Andoril, but forged from the shards of Narsil.
Don't know why that's funny, like.
I think the point of Numenor is also sort of, what's the word? Hamasha. They grow a bit too big for themselves.
Tell me about this captain.
His name is Elendil. Originally of a noble line, now a sea guardsman, with a son, if memory serves, said to follow him into the service.
Oh!
Where the heck did that come from?
So he was a Lindale. I was just about to say, it's weird that it hasn't told you his name yet. And did he say he's got a son there, so Isildur's here somewhere?
He's with him, by the sounds of it, he's serving alongside him.
A ship seems like such a volatile place, doesn't it? It all seems like laughs and giggles in Pirates of the Caribbean, but
I know. You're almost getting chucked into the ocean.
we've seen the kind of evil things living in this ocean.
Their judgment are ever upon us.
So she is not a monarch, she's a regent. She wants him to kill her. Don't worry, mate, you're going to get a much better looking sword than that soon. Yeah, what he wants him to kill her.
Yeah.
So they must sort of coincide with one another, that the Southlands, so that's
Oh, a tree!
it's Gondor, isn't it?
Oh.
You've just earned your company. A water ration.
Don't drink it.
Don't be afraid.
Oh, is it the black water?
Surely you thirst.
Oh no. It's clear. But he didn't drink it. He's gonna kill one of them. Yeah. It's very desperate not to show you that much blood, considering he probably just cut a vein. Like, there's a tiny little, handprint of blood, when in reality if someone cut a vein there, I mean, again, I don't know elven biology, but if someone cut a vein, it would be.
Yeah.
But I suppose they're trying to make this accessible to younger audiences as well. Oh. It's weird because Galadriel doesn't fight during the War of the Last Alliance. I wonder why. If she's the leader of the Northern armies, you would think she would take part. Gilgalad goes, and
She
he's...
also becomes the Lady of Light at some point, isn't she? She becomes the Lady of an elven kingdom, doesn't she?
Yeah, but
So she might add that. She might just...
Gilgalad's the High King of the lot of them. And he
but
goes...
she might just leave that life behind.
Oh, you mean she's a coward?
Oh.
Don't do that.
Oh, it's going to beat them all up.
Why not?
Oh, well, guess not. Oh,
Oh.
guess so.
Jeez.
Oh!
Oh, why are they trying to be less violent for children?
Call me Elrond.
Oh, it's a place.
Of the Southlands.
Because Mordor is in the south.
And the inscription?
It is the Black Speech.
Of Mordor.
About the beginning.
I never even thought of that, because Mordor is in the south, isn't it? It's just literally right next to,
Gondor.
yeah.
Is that why he goes? He ends up trying to keep watch of Mordor.
That'd be cool. Oh, this is the Harfoots being creepy cult people.
The migrating.
So why do they have to wear big crocodile helmets? Imagine if you're just a hunter out in the woods and you see this going past, you'd be like, ugh.
Nobody goes off trail.
Nobody walks alone, but we'll just leave them behind.
You know, after I lost Rose, nothing can stop her.
Nori, I forgot her name. I think she might be one of the most important characters, and I forgot her name. Because genuinely, even though there's the stranger, I genuinely do not care about these people.
I'll keep watch.
See, I don't care about this. I don't care about their witty banter between each other. Like, I just... Sorry, writers of Rings of Power, but your witty banter writing skills aren't as good as Tolkien's. Between Merry and Pippin, it's a bit better.
And fuller bellies.
I don't care about this. I'm sorry,
Stop saying that,
actors and
just
actresses
watch
who have probably worked really hard on making this, but I do not care about it.
What is it now? Girl, that one.
So the same thing is, I don't mind a bit of humour here and there, but things like that is just childish and silly. It's the kind of things that made The Hobbit terrible. And yes, before people say stuff, I know that they've got to put things in for kids, but
Honorable Harfoots.
today's my 111th birthday. Like, it would be sad if, like, you know, the people that died on the road would be like, that's different. But the fact that they just leave people behind, how are we supposed to empathise with these people? Hey, that's not good. There's a big fellow over there. It's my Harfoot impression.
Wait a sliver now, Sadik. To talk about this, now, you mean the back of the back, or do you mean like the middle of the back?
I mean the back.
I don't like these people.
You may as well have stamped that name in the book of the left behinds. It's time to pack.
I'd be like, right, To hell with you lot, I'm going on my own.
Well, as far as she's concerned, and everyone that's ever gone off on their own is.
I'm gonna go and start a
Died.
little. I'm gonna go and start a little hill village where we'll all have our own halls filled with food and stuff.
The watery heart has a way of healing even the deepest of wounds. The way it's healed yours.
It's funny you say that because he'll die in water.
In 9 days' time, when the sea trial begins,
I forgot about that, yeah.
you will be on it.
And the armor that ought to rest upon your shoulders weighs upon your soul.
God, it's all very poetic. I forgot how poetic blooming Lord of the Rings can be. So what lands is it?
Be careful.
Southlands.
The heir to this mark is heir to more than just nobility.
It's all about to change.
Whose bloodline does he come
I
from?
know.
Is he the king before Isildur? Before,
No, Lindale's the king before Isildur.
yeah, before him though.
But then surely that would have to mean that he's related to Lindale.
Not necessarily. You could just give him. Just hand it over.
I always thought that it was Lindale and Isildur that united the Southlands against Mordor.
They bring him?
It's how are they going to explain that the orcs are already working for Sauron if Sauron was never there? If Sauron's just arrived there, surely you can't be Sauron either. I can't imagine him being any of the wizards, and I can't imagine him being Sauron either. I imagine Sauron to be quite young. To me, Morgoth would be like the older, sort of scarier one, but Sauron would be like... Revolution! Uh-oh.
Hurry up.
Quickly, someone say that I would have gotten with you to the end. Ugh!
Oh no, they have a warg.
Did you see that idiot just pulling the chain?
That'd probably be me.
I'd be like, where'd you go, you boy?
Oh.
And then I'd see it and I'd be like, oh.
God, that looks a bit
Aw.
different.
A bit different.
Aw.
A bit different.
Different to the wargs that we've seen. Oh
I don't want to tell you how to do your job or anything, but would it not be a better idea to maybe help the people that it's eaten?
I love how you said earlier that it's doing its job not to be really, like, overly violent.
But I mean...
And yet it's just showing us a warg eating people.
Yeah, but I mean, with the potential of something eating something, it was still quite tame. You saw it bite its stomach.
Oh, he never just killed him with a twig, did he?
Christ, he's fighting them with everything that he's got here, isn't he?
Kind of poetic. There's a twig from the very tree they got him to cut down.
Literally, what has anyone else done?
That's cheating.
I mean, of course, they would have... Of course, they would have scouts and whatnot. God, that guy was crap. He went down with only 2 arrows.
Might be wrong, like I might be wrong, but I'm sure she called him mad.
I'm just crying, it might be.
Yeah. This is. That's rude.
Now that may very well be Sauron.
So who is that?
Yeah, it's making it might be one of those really annoying things where it never tells you who he is right throughout the entire thing. And it does the entire show without ever telling you who it is, and then it ends with it being Gandalf. And that's why he was never involved in any of the battles, because he spent all his time looking for stuff.
I want clarification from someone, like, is this accurate? Is Gandalf around at this time? Does he arrive around this time? Because if so, then fair enough, but as far as I was aware, he wasn't around until after.
Yeah, it's like Google it.
I genuinely thought he wasn't around until after the War of the Last Alliance.
I can't remember if someone's told me that or if I've read it somewhere, but I swear he wasn't around during. But he doesn't fight during the War of the Last. Why would he be there and not fight? Yeah, see. He was not. Gandalf was one of the Astari or wizards. He and the other Astari were in Origin, Maya, angelic beings are kind of like. Well, we don't care about any of that. At the time of the War of the Last Alliance, Gandalf and his fellow wizards were in Aman, aka the Undying Lands, serving their Valar lords, ladies, or doing whatever else they were doing. Gandalf's name is Aman. In Aman was Aloran. So unless they plan on just being...
Unless plan just random to bring Gandalf.
Yeah, just for the bants.
I hope that's not the case. Because I'm kind of still in between with this series. I feel like it's been very slow. And obviously they're doing it deliberately because they're trying to introduce the characters, trying to show you the state that Middle Earth is in.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of like, I don't know. I can't tell. I don't hate it. I'm just waiting for it to get really good. I'm waiting for me to go, oh, that's cool. Like I like the bit where they was fighting the orcs, and that seemed really cool, and the visuals are really pretty. People are saying it looks cheap. I don't think it looks cheap. You can tell they've put a lot of money into this, which they have.
That's the thing, isn't it? Is that everything looks pretty, but then
it doesn't seem like there's crazy CGI or not, especially on like the orcs and stuff, which I know you hated about the Hobbit.
Yeah, and
aside from like the warg, obviously, then that's slightly different though, but.
Yeah, so it's worrying. I hope they don't take liberties with the story like they did with the Hobbit. That's my only concern. Yeah. If that's Sauron at the end there, it makes sense because if Ada does mean like father, it makes sense that all the orcs would call Sauron that.
Either that, or I've just for all these years have been wrong about what.
Yeah.
Erwin was referring to Elrond.
Arwen.
Arwen.
Erwin is from Attack on Titan. He never referred to Elrond as father.
Yeah. No, because I'm sure she calls him Adad, isn't she? I'm sure.
Something like that, yeah.
Either that, or I've just misheard it or misunderstood what it means.
But it's just weird that they would.
The Elvish, they would use Elvish. It's implying that he's an elf.
Unless, yeah.
Isn't it? It's implying that he's an elf.
Yeah. I suppose we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait till Thursday or Friday. Tell us what you think down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, ding the bell notified when we upload. We upload every day. Anything else you want to say?
I want it to start picking up now. We know Sauron's around.
We know who our characters are.
We know who who everyone we've had. Isildur, everyone's been introduced. Now
we need like a Moria.
Do you think of maybe a Moria?
No, not like an actual Moria. We need like a Battle of Moria.
Yeah, we need like
something that really picks it up. Show us more of Sauron during Morgoth's time, or show us a flashback, or just something.
I don't mind a good flashback. I like a good flashback, but I want it to start, picking up. I want to know,
because that's one of the only accusations.
Introduce us to his overall plan, even though we know his basic plan. Show us, how he's deceiving people. I don't care about any of that, but I want it to start picking up.
We haven't seen Elrond and Celebrimbor in this episode either, have we?
No, I want it to really play on the stakes. I want it to show you how big of a deal Sauron is and what his plan could do.
There comes a point in certain shows where just standing around and talking very poetically is a bit too much.
I mean, it's cool and it's beautiful, and obviously everything does look beautiful.
I also think they need to clear up who Halbrand is, because it's not making it clear. Because people know who Isildur is. That name, everyone knows who that name.
Yeah,
what that
unless
name is.
you've read all the books and you're very familiar with the histories, then yeah.
If all you've seen are the films, you know who Isildur is, which means you know who Elendil is.
Yeah.
So if they're on about this king who's going to unite the Southlands against Mordor, why are they not talking about Elendil and Isildur that way? So they have to clear up who Halbrand is.
Yeah, even if it's he is the Dunedain.
Yeah.
Guy. He was the Dunedain, or he's I don't know, even if he just hands it over, he's like, you know what, I'm not fit to be the king. There you go.
Yeah.
Like, that's enough for me. I just want, I don't know.
There's also, I've seen a lot of discussion about, you know, in the first episode where they did like the sort of prologue bit.
Yeah.
You know, and you saw that shot of. We thought it was Sauron, where you see him walking down the stairs. People were saying that they're not sure if that was meant to be Sauron or if it was meant to be Morgoth. Which is strange. In this,
Didn't that
the
come
obvious.
After, though.
I'm sure there was a shot, wasn't there a shot of like a big dark silhouette?
Yeah, there was, but I thought that was supposed to be after they had talked about, like, they showed you that after Morgoth had fell. So I assumed that was
Well, I
Sauron.
assumed it was Sauron, but apparently because he had a spear, didn't he? And people were like, it can't be Sauron because Sauron has a mace.
I just assumed they wouldn't want to go down the path of showing you Morgoth because he doesn't.
Well, they showed you him in a sense, didn't they? They showed you his.
But it's not like, you know, in great detail because it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Morgoth's a kind of character that I feel like would be difficult to translate to.
Yeah, you would need a whole.
Doing it well, at least.
You would need a whole show dedicated to just telling people who Morgoth is, or Melkor, if you wish. Yeah, I would just like it. I don't mind.
Part of me thought that, what's his name? Halbrand. A part of me thought, oh, is he Sauron? I was like, oh, he's not really giving you loads of information, but he's like he almost like recognizes Galadriel. He's helping. He doesn't specify where he's come from. He just says he's from the Southlands. Like, I was kind of like, oh, maybe he's him, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. If it is, and they're doing well at.
Yeah,
not.
It's just like I say. I don't mind ambiguity in certain things, but they also have to try and. It's really hard to get things like that right. Like if you're trying to sort of go, oh, we're just playing with these ideas. Everyone knows that he's the deceiver, so who is actually deceiving you?
Yeah.
But you also have to make it abundantly clear who isn't deceiving. So like Galadriel's job, like we know she's not the deceiver. Elrond. But then it's like there's too many characters for it who could be the deceiver. It's a bit just a bit too much ambiguity for me.
I mean, it seems like it's going to show us who Sauron is, so if that's the case, then fair enough, but I wonder if it's going to be like a character we've seen before and it's going to show you how he's deceiving people.
It would be interesting to see if it's either a character that we've already met or if it's that person that we saw at the end there. Because if that isn't Sauron, I don't know who else it could be.
I feel like the obvious ones are like Celebrimbor. I don't even know.
But even Celebrimbor wasn't necessarily a bad guy, he was just deceived as well.
But a part of me thought, oh, maybe that's not actually Celebrimbor, maybe it's like he's posing as him, maybe he's, you know, using him. I'm trying to think of ideas, but I don't know.
I suppose we'll see. My when I saw his gloves, my first thought that it might be one of the Nazgul, but it's probably too early. It's much too early to be a Nazgul, isn't it?
Well, don't the Nazgul come from the rings that were given to the men? The 9 rings, and they haven't been forged yet, have they?
So I wonder if Halbrand is one of the first. So it might be. It might be the king of Angmar. That might be who he is. He might end up becoming the Witch King.
The Witch King of Angmar. Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be a cool little thing, wouldn't it?
But I don't know. It'd be difficult unless it specifically says he is going to become. It's just, I don't know. I didn't recognise that symbol, so obviously it's nothing that we've seen from Lord of the Rings, or at least not identifiable yet. So
it's nothing that I recognise, and we have very limited knowledge. But let us know what you think. Don't try not to spoil anything if you can. You can, explain a few things.
It's been like the lore and the basic.
Yeah, but try not to spoil anything. We know generally. We know that Elendil is going to get killed, and we know that Isildur is going to die in a pond.
Oh no. That's really sad though, because he seems like such a sweet kid, and he gets like.
He's got dreams. He's got dreams of grandeur though, and they're obviously going to not work for him. And
then he just gets this ring, and he's like, ooh, shiny, and then he dies in a pond.
Just thinking about however many years' time, him and Elrond are going to be stood in Mordor, and Elrond's going to be shouting at him.
The fires of Mount Doom.
Yeah, he's going to be shouting at him. But we also know things like the fall of Numenor. That's definitely a thing that happens. What we just saw there. I also know that one of the places that we've seen gets destroyed as well. One of the other scenic places that we've seen, I also know that gets destroyed as well. Right. I'm not going to tell you which one, but I know that one of them gets destroyed quite brutally, and I'll I'll not spoil that for you.
I knew Numenor fell, obviously, because you don't...
Yeah, because that's where the line of kings comes from.
Yeah.
And it's also where the Dunedain come from.
It's really, though, it's like... I don't know, I'm interested to know why Numenor kind of, like, stopped being besties with the elves. Like, was it just simply they got too big for the boots? Is it just they just thought they didn't need them anymore, or?
But if it's saying that the king was still a supporter of the elves, maybe it's her that's the issue.
I still think because even though she said father, it implied that it's not actually the king that's been imprisoned. Because he said it, like the elf has arrived as we feared, and
maybe that's Sauron. At this point, at the end of every episode, we're just going to sit here and go,
Sauron.
maybe that's Sauron. It's like Cluedo, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you for watching.
I need to know.